Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the RotoBaller Radio Waiver Wire Series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano. Happy to be here with you as we take a look at Week 3's waiver wire for the quarterback and tight end positions. Guys, win big in 2021 with RotoBaller.com's NFL Premium Pass. Are you ready to dominate your season-long and DFS leagues? RotoBaller NFL's Premium Pass and Draft Kit includes projections, rankings, and cheat sheets for all formats. Get exclusive DFS tools, lineup optimizers, and premium Slack chats. Join in on the winning and take 50% off any premium pass. Use my promo code ACES for another 10% discount. Visit rotoballer.com/radio. Sign up today, and as they say, start rotoballing like a boss. All right, everybody. Hopefully you've already checked out the running back and the wide receiver videos. Now we'll talk a little bit of quarterback, talk a little bit of tight end, a couple of quarterback injuries. Nothing dramatic, nothing devastating. Really more depth quarterbacks went down. Andy Dalton suffered a knee injury. Justin Fields finished that game. Tua carted off with a rib injury, not broken, going for an MRI. Could see some Jacoby Brissett there in Miami. Carson Wentz an ankle. Could see some Jacob Eason. Some would say it's an upgrade in Chicago, but it is a downgrade potentially for Miami as they try to still evaluate Tua, and it's certainly going to be a downgrade for the Colts. How it hurts you, maybe in a 2 QB league, or just as backup quarterbacks, depths, dart throws at the quarterback positions. And I know people are going to want to add Justin Fields, but guys, there are veteran quarterbacks out there playing very, very well who are higher waiver priority for me than a rookie still trying to find his way. And number one on that list is now Derek Carr. Facing Miami next week, who Buffalo just put up 35 points against. And Derek Carr playing right now the best football of his career. We talked about two of his wide receivers in the waiver wire wide receiver show. We know he has arguably the second best tight end. I don't even think it's arguable anymore. The second best tight end in football in Darren Waller. And Derek Carr just continuing to play out of his mind and only 25% rostered on Yahoo. 28 for 37, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns, 33.2 fantasy points for week 2. He's basically gotten 33 fantasy points, 2 straight games, and he's available in 75% of leagues. If you've been streaming quarterbacks all season, maybe you decided to wait some more, and you have Matt Ryan or Jameis Winston, whatever it is. Guys, pivot out of that. Hey, grab Derek Carr and get him in your lineup at home next week against the Miami Dolphins. Number 2, Sam Darnold. Okay, another quarterback playing excellent football, escaping the clutches of Adam Gase. And when you give Sam Darnold a check down option like Christian McCaffrey, when you give him a number 1 wide receiver like DJ Moore, heck, when you give him a tight end like Dan Arnold, okay, Sam Darnold is going to do good things. 15% rostered, 26 of 38, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22.9 fantasy points, and a great matchup, even though it's on the road, against the Houston Texans defense. He's thrown the ball over 35 times each of the first 2 games. He's got 21 or more fantasy points each of the first 2 games and 3 touchdowns on the season right now to 1 interception. Number 3, Teddy Bridgewater, another veteran quarterback, finding a home potentially in Denver, leaving Carolina, finding a home in Denver, and making the best of a tight end like Noah Fant. He loses Jerry Jeudy. It doesn't matter. Cortland Sutton goes off in week 2, re-emerging as the Denver number 1 wide receiver. Okay, Teddy Bridgewater, 17% rostered, 26 of 34. He's not a game manager. He's slinging it. 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. A 30-point fantasy performance for Teddy Bridgewater, and a juicy matchup against one of his former teams, even though it was only for a cup of coffee, the New York Jets. Okay, on average, he's 27 for 35 and 2 touchdowns through his first 2 games. 25 or more fantasy points through his first 2 games as well. And a great matchup against that Jets defense for Teddy Bridgewater. And number 4, if we want to have some fun, Taylor Heineke had a great game against that dismal Giants defense on Thursday night. 336 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was eyeing Terry McLaurin all night. He made J.D. McKissic relevant again in a PPR format. Thing with Heineke, it's a tough matchup on the road in Buffalo next week. So I'm not in love with it. But put him in as your 4th waiver ad. If you're looking for depth on your bench, he's only 4% rostered. Carr is number 1. Darnold 2. Bridgewater 3. Tyler Heineke number 4 for me this week off the waiver wire at the quarterback position. At the tight end position, a few names to be mindful of, but Jack Doyle clearly leads the list for the Colts. 8 targets, 5 receptions in week 2, 64 yards. Actually had a 2-point conversion as well. Readily available at 1% rostered. No real injuries at the tight end position, so maybe you don't need the pivot. You don't need the position. However, a 13-point fantasy game and goes against Tennessee that's struggling defensively. Through 2 games, Jack Doyle has 8 receptions and 12 targets, so he is being looked at in the Colts offense. Again, though, be wary with Carson Wentz potentially out due to his ankle injury. Number 2, I mentioned him. I love Dan Arnold this year. I know he hasn't done much yet. Only 8.5 fantasy points. And if I'm looking at these tight ends, that means I waited late for the tight end and I'm streaming it every week. Okay. Last week I mentioned Jared Cook against that Dallas defense. It was actually Parnell who had a deep touchdown called back due to injury for the charge, due to penalty. But Dan Arnold, only 4% rostered, goes against Houston next week. 4 targets, but 3 receptions, 55 yards. Was able to make some big plays receiving the ball. Dan Arnold, a deep flyer at the tight end position, 4% rostered. And finally, in Arizona, I want as much Arizona offense as I can right now, the way they're playing and the way Kyler Murray is playing. But Max Williams, he's a freebie. He's 0% rostered. That's going to change. Anytime a tight end goes 7 for 94, catching all 7 of his targets, and faces a Jacksonville defense next Sunday, Max Williams, there's a lot of players in Arizona who are fighting for targets and fighting for receptions, right? Hopkins is going to get his. We talked about Rondell Moore this week on the waiver wire wide receiver show. Last week it was Christian Kirk. A.J. Green even caught a touchdown this past week. But Max Williams was there for Kyler Murray all game long. 7 for 94. He looked for him 7 times. So those are numbers to be excited about. He's 0% rostered. If you're dismal at tight end and looking to take a flyer on somebody, Max Williams coming off probably the best game of his career. So we look at the tight ends. Jack Doyle 1, Dan Arnold 2, Max Williams 3. At the quarterback position, Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, and Tyler Heineke. All right, everybody. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the running back waiver wire video and the wide receiver waiver wire video right here on RotoBaller's YouTube channel or wherever you listen to the RotoBaller podcast series. Okay, give me a follow on Twitter at Aniano Fantasy, and good luck working the waiver wire week 3. Stay smart, stay safe. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.